this is how I've built more muscle in the last 2 to 3 years of training consistently than the prior 6. And there's 2 key things that I looked at and dialed in at. It took me this long to realise and stop self-sabotaging, and in the space of a few minutes, you're going to have all the things you need to know to dramatically change your physique. Now, I'm 3 years into YouTube at this point, and I'll be completely honest with you, I'm quite bored of talking about the same topics over and over and over again. So I'm going to tell you a few stories about my experience and try and bring a bit more personality into the videos and just chat a load of rubbish. So if you're here for that, hit the like button. Story time, 20 years old, remember stepping in the gym between my first and second year of uni back home. Massive PT guy in my gym back home. I was like, I want to be big like you, what do I need to do? Set me a very basic program. I ate loads of food. Remember going to Tesco to get my meal deals and trying to cram loads of food in before mum made dinner. And it worked to an extent. I started building a bit of muscle initially. Now, I stalled in my training probably from about 22, 23. Once I graduated, I then started a job in London. I was working in finance for investment banks, long hours, and I was running to the gym in the evening when I was tired, and I was in this phase in my early 20s where I was going out partying all the time, right, as you do. It's good fun, I don't regret it, but for years I didn't take my training and my diet seriously. I was pushing myself hard in the gym, training every day or 6 days a week, hammering push-pull legs, not having enough rest. And then I was going out partying midweek, having work drinks, going out with mates, and it was fun, but I started stagnating and just stalling on my weights, and this gets really demotivating eventually. You just get bored, you're fed up of lifting the same weights months and months, years and years. I'm seeing no changes in shape, and I realised I was just self-sabotaging. So eventually, one day in lockdown, at the age of about 27, 28, the penny dropped, and this is what I did. One day I decided that I needed to follow my passion and quit my job in finance, save up some cash, do my PT qualification, and then start to work in a gym. And one of the key things I then changed to my training was I got more focused on what I was doing outside the gym than what I was doing inside the gym. I knew I had good programming and I was doing good workouts and I had the right exercises selected, but I wasn't taking care of myself, and it's not very sexy advice. I seem to have to say this over and over again because people don't realise it. It is that basic. To build muscle, you need to be lifting heavier weights over time. Anything that hinders your ability to apply progressive overload and increase the reps or increase the weight, that is going to be the biggest thing that holds you back in building muscle. So what is it? It's usually a lack of sleep, lack of protein, and not actually having enough days outside the gym and taking enough rest. So what I did was I changed to 4 days a week following a push-pull legs upper body plan. Once I built my upper body up, I then switched to push-pull legs and did a second leg day. It doesn't make a huge difference on what training split you use, but 4 days in the gym with an upper body, lower body split of some kind, or push-pull legs, tracking that the weights are going up over time. And once I stopped overtraining and I focused more on my sleep, getting a consistent 7 to 8 hours each night, and I focused on tracking the weights were going up over time. Once I stopped this overtraining, my weights rocketed in the gym. You know, I started bicep curling more than I'd ever bicep curled. My weights were flying up, and the changes in physique I've been so happy with over the last 2 to 3 years. So stop overtraining is the first one. I genuinely think for everyone, training more than 4 days a week is probably overtraining. Now, you'll see people pushing 5-day or 6-day training splits, but if you have any kind of social life, if you're not a boring guy or girl watching this, you actually have some friends and family that you want to see and you want to have a life. If you have one later night out, or you go on a party, or you go out one evening, if your sleep is hindered occasionally, which it probably should be when you're living life, if you're not really boring like me, then you are going to struggle to recover on 5 or 6 days in the gym. And so it makes more sense to have a bit more flexibility, train 3 or 4 days a week, and focus on the quality of those sets in the gym, pushing the weights up faster by doing less but higher quality. So I would say, because you're busy, you have work, you have social life, most of my clients are in this boat where they don't have time to train 5 or 6 days a week. You do not need to be doing that in order to build an amazing physique. So keep it to 3 or 4 times and manage that social life and work stuff better. The second mistake that I was making, which sounds ridiculous looking back now with the knowledge that I have, is for some reason people do not track their data in the gym. So if you're at work and you are in a busy desk job, you have KPIs, key performance indicators. So if you think about it from a work perspective, if you need to hit a certain number of sales, if you're in a sales job, or you're going door to door and you're selling a product, you need to knock on X number of doors to make Y sales. And if you're in any sort of big role at a big company, a corporate role, you're going to have these key performance indicators that show that if you're doing all of the right things, you get the result. But for some reason, when we transition into a gym environment, people have this habit of not tracking anything and just winging their workout. So what I was doing when I was younger in my 20s was just putting a load of random exercises together in a plan. Oh, I'll use that today, I'll use that today. And then not actually tracking my weights properly in the gym. So the second thing I did to change this was I just kept to a routine. I picked a training plan, stuck to it for about 3 months, and inevitably you will get bored because building muscle is going to take longer than you hope. And so in order to stay consistent, you need to find a way of training that you enjoy. So I'd recommend that when you get bored, switch out an exercise here and there. Don't rip out every exercise and just completely change it, because you've spent some time building up the movement patterns and acquiring that knowledge and that skill to actually perform the exercise. But just mix it up. So if you get bored of your bicep curl, change it to a different variation, change it to a different chest press, mix up a few exercises, or just change the order of your exercises through a training split. So going from upper body, lower body to full body, or to push-pull legs, and then just rotate between these when you get bored and you need to mix it up. This allows you to stay consistent in the long term and provide, regardless of whatever training split you're using, providing that you're tracking the weights, doesn't matter how, notes in your phone, apps, there's loads of free ones you can use, or just using a spreadsheet. If the weights are going up over time, regardless of the training split, you are building muscle. Now, the only way that you can build muscle over time is pushing yourself on each set, 1 to 2 reps left in the tank max, stimulating muscle growth. Then we increase the weights over time through progressive overload. So whatever you can do to ensure that keeps happening, and you have evidence of that by tracking your workouts and not overtraining that we talked about in the first thing, that is how you're going to build muscle as quickly as possible. The biggest hindrance to the muscle building process is fatigue management, getting tired, not pushing the weights up. So I hope you learned from my experience there. If you're somehow at the end of this video and you're not bored to death of my voice, congratulations on making it this far, as I always say, and hit the subscribe button if you're new, drop the video a like if you found this useful, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next video, my friends. See ya.